Some of you, same people, sat here with the last administration when you saw a weaponization of this department, the likes of which had never been seen in history.
Well, that silent war rages on as we get more interviews from President Trump for all to see. The FBI continues to remind us who is going down. Democrats are in so much trouble. They are now openly breaking the law to stay in power and more. The comms are completely showing us great information on this war for our minds. Great deltas for May 11th on the Q board. Can't wait to get to these folks. Pretty amazing. 510,000 followers on our And We Know Rumble channel. We really appreciate following us there, hitting that follow button. And also, we get to the top of the leaderboard, and we appreciate that when you hit that like button. So please hit that like button below. We really appreciate it. Also, remember, we've got our 250-year anniversary merchandise at andweknow.com. We've got it appears to be the whole V-necks, three-quarter sleeves are finally here for all to see. So if you didn't notice in the intro, Dan Scavino posted twice, the Nessun Dorma, None Shall Sleep video. And you guys heard that in the intro. And we love that. We love when he posts it. None shall sleep. What's amazing is that we have a May 12th Delta coming up tomorrow on the Q board. Attempts by the Dems and the fake news and those guilty of treason to shape the public narrative prior to, by providing falsehoods, will fail. Truth to light, no sleep in D.C. Like Nessun Dorma, none shall sleep. They are in full panic mode as it continues. These folks that committed treason, including Obama, continue to get exposed.
I'm going to try to get out as much of this information and get it declassified as possible.
So you believe that they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this? They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago.
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because look, that report is pretty damning. If people take the time to read it, it's 45 pages. It spent, we had a dedicated team that spent nearly 2 years down at the CIA looking through this. It was blocked from getting out. And the reason that report is so important, right? That's, let's just dumb it down. Simply put, we went through every single piece of intelligence that existed. And if anything, it was clear that if Putin was going to do anything, he probably wanted Hillary Clinton to win. But in fact, if you just apply a little common sense to it, fact is that nobody around the world thought that President Trump was going to win in 2016. Same with Vladimir Putin. He didn't either. And so when you go through that was the intelligence. Every piece of intelligence that existed we went through it. It's in that report. And what do we know? After all this, after all, Trump and Russia and collusion, the two people that didn't collude? Trump and Russia.
Devin Nunes dropping more bombshells. Great to have him back out there and sharing information with all of us. Obama ordered the Mar-a-Lago raid to find the falsified CIA used to frame President Trump. They didn't want that stuff out. And of course, always breaking the law, and they get by with it. Why? Because they've got their criminal judges, their agents, and more in charge. Well, the FBI, I think, is getting cleaned up, and FBI Director Kash Patel continues to give us the information about old Comey himself, the Comey.
Thank you. As you heard from the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that. Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake, especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else. As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months. These cases take time. Our investigators work methodically. They are career agents, career prosecutors who work these matters. They call the balls and strikes in the field as they see fit pursuant to the facts of the case and the law. They took that information and made a presentment to a grand jury, a jury of peers in the district in which the alleged crime took place. And that grand jury spoke, and that grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against James Comey. James Comey allegedly threatened the life of the President of the United States. And as you all now know, shortly after posting that threat, he deleted that threat and then issued an apology. All of that information was presented to the grand jury, and Mr. Comey will have his day in court and his ability to speak to a jury of his peers. Thank you.
Comey's going down. And when all this comes out, the media starts crying, right, for them because they get paid to do that, to put the doubt in the minds of the people and say, oh, President Trump's just going after his enemies. It's all revenge and retribution. They continue to play this game. More folks are waking up to their shenanigans. Fake news, hopefully, will someday, many of them get arrested for what they've done to our country. Here's Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche going crazy on the fake news, whining about the weaponization in the Trump DOJ.
That is supposedly that when we talk about ending weaponization, as if that's a bad thing for us to do. Okay, people in this room for 4 years, some of you, same people, sat here with the last administration when you saw a weaponization of this department, the likes of which had never been seen in history. And some of you are looking down now. And I get it, because you had a president who was indicted 4 times by this department. You had a president who, along with this department, had assistance. So this department helped 2 other local DAs go after the president. You had this department who stood idly by while states tried to keep President Trump off the ballot. Okay, that's what happened the past 4 years. And so when I'm asked questions or when I see reporting about shock and awe at this supposed weaponization of this Department of Justice, it means nothing to me because it's completely false. What we're doing and what we've been doing for the past 14 months is changing this department. We're no longer, people say the president wants to go after his political enemies. No, the president has said time and time again that he wants justice. And if you look at what happened to him, his family, his administration, the agents that protected him, people that happened to just walk by him on a given day, they got subjected to massive investigations by this department. So I understand the question, and I understand the pretty constant role of the media that somehow this department is weaponizing itself, but it happens not to be true. We have tens of thousands of prosecutors all over this country putting bad guys in jail. Okay, that's something that wasn't happening like it should have been happening for the past 4 years. That's going to happen tomorrow, and it's going to happen in the coming days.
That's right. It's going to happen. President Trump is out there, and he's been talking to the media this weekend.
That the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration. That's what they tried to do, right?
Wow, it's amazing how the media frames questions, huh? Hey, aren't you worried, Democrat president, if they get in, they're going to indict your FBI director? Since, you guys are playing back and forth with this. See how they kind of frame this whole thing, folks? I don't know. It seems kind of interesting to me. They're sitting around the table like, hey, let's go after President Trump. Let's do everything we can to indict him, go after him, get him out of office and more, and, just lie about him constantly. That way, when he gets in and actually starts proving that we're a bunch of liars and we committed treason, it'll just look like it's a revenge thing. That way, America won't back him up on it. I don't think it's working.
They did it with me for 4 years. They went after me. They went after me for 4 years, and that doesn't include the 4 great years that we had in the White House. So when I ran it from, 2016 when we won, it began before I got to office. You know that. Wait a minute. Before I came to office, I started hearing rumors about Russia. I said, what the hell do I have to do with Russia? Nothing. And then it got worse and worse. And some of the fakers, not you, but some of the fake news picked it up and they loved it. And we went through a long time with that. And despite that, we had a great first term.
Because that's how it went, where they made you go and take a mugshot. Is this more about justice or is it about revenge?
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it. And Comey was one of the people. He wasn't the biggest, but he's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it. And it's, as far as the case is concerned, he gave an answer. It was just.
That's right. I have nothing to worry about. He knows they're going to be taken care of. They're going to be taken out. They'll be taken down for treason. I'm going to get you into a lot of this election movement that's been happening, the maps, the gerrymandering, and so much more, especially with Virginia in a moment. Show you what these pesky little Democrats are up to. Hang in there in a moment. Well, every time a missile goes off or a bomb explodes, microplastic particles are released into the upper atmosphere and spread throughout the earth, making their way into the air we breathe and the food we eat. Because they're so small, they get absorbed into the bloodstream and our organs, where they build up over time, triggering inflammation and increasing the risk of heart disease, cancer, and even Alzheimer's. But there's something incredible. New research now showing that certain probiotics found only in kimchi can bind these microplastics and help remove them from the body. The results showed that people taking the kimchi-derived probiotic were clearing out nearly twice as many microplastics. And it doesn't stop there. Another study found that a specific strain in kimchi, Bacillus pumilus, can break down BPA, one of the most toxic chemicals in plastic. What that means is your body actually has the ability to get rid of toxins, but only when your gut is balanced and functioning the way it's supposed to. But here's the challenge. Most people aren't eating kimchi consistently enough to get these benefits. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One with over 900 plus strains of beneficial bacteria that deliver all the benefits of real kimchi in convenient capsules, no taste, no smell, non-GMO, and 100% made in the USA. Today, you can try Kimchi One by clicking the link below for 25% off your entire order, or for the best deal available, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off plus free shipping. Call now, 888-317-9941. That's 888-317-9941.
Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have a rigged election. Anytime you're not using voter ID, the Democrats don't want. They're fighting us on the Save America Act. Anytime you don't have, when somebody says we don't want voter identification, that means they want to cheat. Then they say we don't want citizenship. We don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want it to be a part of the voting process. And yet, when it comes to voting, the interesting thing is 97% of the Republicans want voter ID. But if you add the Republicans and the Democrats together, 86% want. Jimmy Carter, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him as a president, but Jimmy Carter had a committee that was set up, and along with Scoop Jackson, some very respected people. And the primary finding of the committee on the election stuff, primary finding of the committee was can't have mail-in voting, it's crooked.
That's right, it's crooked. Yes, I could keep reminding folks he was with Cheryl Atkinson, Full Measure, and that constant reminder, we've all heard it hundreds of times now. We need the Save America Act. We need to have voter ID and more. And we think, oh, man, we've heard this so many times. But I tell you what, there's people that are going to listen to Cheryl Atkinson and say, man, you know what? I'm finally paying attention to the news. It's the first time I'm hearing about this. Yeah, A new fair map reveals what America looks like without Democrat gerrymandering. You're looking at your screen. There's hardly any blue on there at all, folks. A compact population-based congressional map without racial or partisan tricks delivers 280 Republicans, 156 Democrats. That's a jaw-dropping GOP majority. Democrats have been cheating for decades, using bizarre, contorted districts to steal seats that should belong to Republicans. We must keep redrawing the fair maps across the country. No more rigged lines. Restore integrity to our elections. America first. Shella Marks shared this. Joe Biden won 25 states in the 2020 presidential election, of course, by cheating. 30 states are being sued by the DOJ over voter rolls. All 25 states Biden won in 2020 have refused to comply with the Department of Justice request to share voter rolls and ensure compliance with federal law. Every state Biden won in 2020 is being sued. And then also the news for Virginia Democrats. Former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli just confirmed that Democrats have zero legal path left to appeal the Virginia Supreme Court's landmark decision throwing out their rigged 10 Democrat to 1 Republican congressional maps.
The Commonwealth have any recourse or way to appeal the ruling? No, they do not. As I mentioned, the Virginia Supreme Court is the final authority on Virginia constitutional questions. This is the end, folks. You will have the same map in 2026 for the congressional elections that existed in 2024. That is now unchangeable and immutable. That does not mean maps couldn't be changed by 2028, but they will not be changed by 2026.
It's music to our ears, but boy, the Democrats might have something up their sleeves. I'll show you that in a second. First, CNN just had to admit it live that Obama and Hakeem Jeffries are cooked after Virginia Democrats tried to steal 4 extra seats with a gerrymander.
And that's exactly what happened. I've been texting with folks, and they're saying, these are folks at the D-Trip saying, yes, this is a setback, but they feel like, they were trying to get 4 additional seats. Probably 2 of those they probably can get, particular if it's a wave.
Because it could be a bad year.
It could be a bad year. But listen, this is a big blow. Hakeem Jeffries. I basically wrote a column that was like, this was great for Hakeem Jeffries. Because he was all in on it. $38 million spent from a group affiliated with him. Obama was in on this. And now this is a big defeat. And one of the reasons why Virginia was so important as well was Democrats were anticipating this Supreme Court
$38 million. Flushed down the drain for Jeffries linked groups. Obama defeat. That's a great music to our ears. We have a song about Obama defeated. It'd be great. So the current boundaries, if you're looking at your screen, you got that a lot of red and a little bit of blue in the middle. The proposed boundaries that they wanted was basically mostly blue and just, about 40% red, 60% blue. Yeah. Truth Am Forever put this out showing Tyler Englander saying, per the New York Times, there are discussions among congressional Democrats about still trying to implement a new congressional map in Virginia, despite the Supreme Court of Virginia's ruling. That process could include lowering the retirement age of Supreme Court justices. Check this out. Dems very seriously considering flushing the entire Supreme Court and replacing the judges to reverse the decision. After the break Virginia's own laws on redistricting. Imagine asking a judge, quote, if we agree to install you on the Virginia Supreme Court, do you agree to sanction breaking the law as long as we are the ones doing it? And the noble cause is stopping Trump at any cost? That's why they continue to make Trump the bad guy, so they can get whatever they want to stay in power. So if you're looking at your screen, Matt Von Swall posted this. This is an actual district in Chicago. If you're looking at it, it looks like a horseshoe. Shape of a horseshoe. Almost like a dog, too. Look at this. You got this here. You got the mouth. You got the chin. And then you got the body. And then you got the ears of the dog here. I don't know. Kind of interesting. Anyway, Brian Cates said they spent the last 50 years carefully drawing these maps on racial criteria to hand themselves around 40 House seats. And they got away with it until now. Get ready to watch all the panic now that they realize the illusionary balance of power they've been maintaining for decades is fading away. Democrats are not a national party. They've been faking it for a long time now. We've talked about that on this channel for a while, folks. If the truth came out and we knew exactly how this country was being railroaded and all the deception and lies. That's why I always, when people say, our country is split. No, it's not split. Oh, it's 50-50. No, it's not 50-50. We are a nation, most of us. We love our country. We stand for truth. It's these pesky little demon-possessed Democrats that continue to try to run over and railroad all of us. Scott Jennings owned Ashley Allison in a heated debate over this redistricting and black voters.
Partisan redistricting is a fact of life. And now
this isn't partisan.
On the campaign, sure it is. On the
racial redistricting.
On the campaign,
you literally are taking Memphis, which is a city that with black voters, and you split it in three, stretching 3,000 miles.
Who's the current Democrat congressman there? What is it? A black congressman?
Just because black people are allowed to like people that don't look like them.
Exactly, and that is the point I wanted you to make, because just because you're not going to have a black congressman, why is it that a Republican can't do just as well representing black voters as a Democrat?
Because
why
they
does
aren't
your race,
electing.
Why does your race determine your politics?
It doesn't. No. You're making my point, actually. The assumption is black people. No. The assumption is black people will only elect black people. No, black people are smart enough to elect.
The assumption.
No, let me finish. Black people will elect people who will actually represent them, who have their best interests in heart. And what Republicans have done in Tennessee is dismantle the power for black people to have their voice. They did the same thing in Texas because they said they thought Latinos were going to swing for Republicans. There are black people that are represented. I'm black and I got a Republican president right now. Black people don't elect black people based on race. They elect people that are aligned with their beliefs in justice. And Republicans just took that away from them in Tennessee and in other states.
I just disagree that the only kind of a politician who can elect black people in Congress must be a Democrat. This is just an artificial.
That's not what I'm saying.
The Democratic
That's
Party.
not what I'm saying.
Black voters are still fully franchised and can go vote for whoever they want.
Not
it
what
just
I'm
doesn't
saying.
have to be a Democrat.
That's right. He's got a good point. They keep waking folks over on CNN, waking up the liberals who continue to watch that. South Carolina moves to eliminate Jim Clyburn's racially drawn seat for 2026. A legislative committee just passed a resolution that paves the way for new congressional maps and pushes back U.S. House primaries to August. It sets up the likely elimination of Clyburn's seat drawn on race, potentially delivering a clean 7 Republican, 0 Democrat map. Red states are no longer playing defense. They're redrawing fair, compact districts and taking back seats Democrats stole through racial gerrymandering. Get it done. Get it done. Now, Brian Todd on the Communist News Network on redistricting. Listen to what he says here.
Let's rewind the tape. In 2018, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court was just partisan and elected at the ballot box, and a majority Democrat redrew Pennsylvania's map to help Democrats take over Congress in 2018. Democrats were not outraged by that. Mark Warner, who just decried this Virginia decision, the decision was written by Justice Arthur Kelsey. You know who put him on the appellate bench? Governor Mark Warner. This is selective outrage from Democrats. North Carolina has redrawn their lines about 6 times in the last 6 elections. Why? Because the Democrats always go to court and always try to get new lines that are favorable to them. Sue till blue. That's the mantra that they use.
Sue till blue?
Sue till blue. Democrats will sue on any map until it's blue. They do their mid-decade redistricting in the courts. And we have seen it for 3 years. And that is what's happening here. They've gone to Utah this cycle and sued to get the map drawn for themselves. Like, partisan redistricting is a fact of life. And now
this isn't partisan.
On the campaign, sure it is.
Racial redistricting.
Oh, yeah. screening out the truth. And they're having a heyday with it. President Trump put this out. Palestinian Chuck Schumer is hiring Eric Holder, famous for handing guns to Mexican cartels under the Barack Hussein Obama administration, as part of a Democrat-led election integrity group that will no doubt try to suppress Republican voters and interfere in our elections. Furthermore, Mark Elias, a terrible lawyer with a horrible track record, is also involved. This is the same disgusting individual who is responsible for the fake Russia dossier from a foreign nation to meddle in the 2016 election, which I won in historic fashion. The Democrats are totally unhinged, and we will not allow them to threaten the integrity of our elections. During my historic election in 24, when I won every single swing state and decisively won both the electoral and popular votes by wide margins, the Republicans had an election integrity army in every single state to preserve the sanctity of each legal vote. We will be doing the same again in 2026, but it will be much bigger and stronger. All Americans should have their voices be heard by casting a vote. Be assured this election will be fair. President Donald J. Trump. He also posted this meme, if you're looking at your screen. Start arresting poll workers that cheated in elections and watch how fast they tell you who told them to cheat. Oh, that is so good. So President Trump, again, with Cheryl Atkinson, dropped a bombshell that went all over social media. And it's about the Venezuelan engineer whistleblower. Check this out.
On Venezuela and voter fraud, there are Venezuelan engineer whistleblowers who have provided your administration, my understanding is, with a lot of information and documentation alleging vote rigging in the U.S. elections, including in 2020, through an operation engineered in part by our foreign adversaries and centered in Venezuela. Are you familiar with this information, and is anything going to come of that?
Yeah, a little bit. And, well, I'm familiar with voter fraud because we have a lot of it, I believe, coming up on the 2020 election. The 2020 election was rigged. You know, when I used to say that, they'd say, oh, the cameras would turn off. How can you say? Now they don't turn. The information, a lot of it's already out there. The election was rigged. It was rigged. You look at Georgia, you look at Pennsylvania, you look at these states, they were rigged. It was a rigged election. And they used COVID to do it, and they used crooked, dirty cops to do it. You know, they had dirty cops. Like you read about Comey. Comey's a dirty cop, bad guy, bad for the country, bad guy. But no, the 2020 election was rigged. Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have a rigged election. Anytime you're not using voter ID, the Democrats don't want, they're fighting us on the Save America Act. Anytime you don't have, when somebody says we don't want voter identification, that means they want to cheat. Then they say we don't want citizenship. We don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want it to be a part of the voting process. And yet, when it comes to voting, the interesting thing is 97% of the Republicans want voter ID. But if you add the Republicans and the Democrats together, 86% want. Jimmy Carter, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of him as a president, but Jimmy Carter had a committee that was set up, and along with Scoop Jackson, some very respected people. And the primary finding of the committee on the election stuff, primary finding of the committee was can't have mail-in voting, it's crooked.
He continues to tell us all the information and documentation showing the vote rigging in elections, and he said, including 2020, which is not done yet, they're going to prove the election was stolen. I think that will be one of the ways that he's going to be able to stay in for. Remember, what did he tell us last week? How would you guys like me around another 8 or 9 years? I'll be serving maybe another 8 or 9 years. There's got to be a pathway to that. Why would he be joking around with us? He's not. And I think that's how it's all playing out. You know, there's an amazing video posted by Dan Scavino and Canada. You guys have probably seen it. The two dogs looking at the tennis ball below the water. There's some crumbs behind that, and also some amazing catches with that wonderful picture that President Trump posted there at the Capitol and the reflecting pool. You don't want to miss that. And we're going to show you some amazing feedback out of Los Angeles with the mayoral race going on there, and much more to cover. Have you been dealing with nagging pain, restless nights, constant stress, or just feeling drained? What if the solution was something as simple as wearing a watch? Introducing the new and improved WaveWatch 2.2, the world's first sound frequency therapy watch. This isn't just a timepiece, it's 166 powerful frequency sets, over 1,250 targeted frequencies designed to help your body restore balance naturally. Wear it on your wrist, pick a set for pain relief, deeper sleep, detox, energy boost, stress melt away, or even nerve support, and let gentle, safe sound waves do the work. No apps, no Bluetooth, just pure natural harmony. I use the watch for my back pain and also to regulate my sleep. My friend used it who had terrible knee pain affecting his bowling. Now he bowls pain-free. Another shared in less than a week improvements in liver, hip pain, nerve pain, and emotional balance. It's a blessing. Thousands are experiencing fast-acting wellness without chemicals or side effects. Right now, WaveWatch is giving And We Know fans a special deal. You get 15% off with code AWK. That's code AWK. That's a big savings on the WaveWatch 2.2. Don't wait. Supplies are limited and pre-orders are moving fast. Visit wavewatch.com/pages/AWK today. Use code AWK and take the first step toward feeling better naturally, because when we know better, we do better. Order now. Folks, I want to show you this from Babylon Bee first. They envisioned an America run exclusively by Democrats. Now, some of the things they're going to say here might not be appropriate for children to hear. They're going to mention the abortion and some other things. And it's not really, really bad. It's just maybe, I don't know, maybe kind of touchy for some of the younger ones. So I just wanted to warn you that before you push play. Again, this is AI simulating what it would be like if the United States had no Republicans.
It ends up, when you do communism right, it works perfectly and everyone loves it.
And it only took 200 million starving to get here.
That's less than half as many as we thought.
There has been another terrorist attack with 33 dead. The American government has decided not to do anything about it since we probably deserved it.
It sure is great that abortion is now free and available for everyone everywhere.
Yeah. But it's too bad that there aren't any babies to abort since we outlawed being a heterosexual.
Murdering those families was wrong, but you're an immigrant and you probably just didn't know any better. Plus, we shut down all prisons. You're free to go.
This is wrong! You need to lock him up!
How dare you question our compassion? Execute that man immediately!
I found more letters we need to add to the acronym.
It's already so large, it's throwing off the rotation of the Earth. If we add any more letters, we'll die.
Then we die!
Everyone just stay in line and walk through the scanner. It's going to check how dark your skin is to see how many benefits you get. If I were you, I wouldn't bother.
The U.S. has run out of money.
Can't we just murder more billionaires and confiscate their wealth?
There are no more left. I'm afraid someone in our country is actually going to have to get a job and work.
Babylon Bee? Oh, man. All right, back to Dan Scavino posting this of the two dogs in the water looking at that tennis ball. You guys have probably heard where somebody actually put audio over this and their dogs are complaining, and one guy's saying, hey, you know, let me get a better look over here on this angle, and the dog's like, nope, that's not going to change it. And it was really funny. Anyway, it pertains to 43 seconds on QAGG thanks to DC Lidstone, 43-second video. 43 on the cue board. These crumbs are not meant to scare anyone, but merely inform. Resistance will be dealt with swiftly. Interesting, right? They're not meant to scare anyone, but here are dogs scared to go down and look at and grab the tennis ball, right? The core focus is removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within our federal government, past and present, as well as others. Simply be diligent. Phone numbers will be provided if you witness an uprising or other domestic violence. Any military scene is for your protection, as well as to demonstrate our resolve. Watch for confirmations tomorrow. Now, remember this wonderful photo of the, actually a generated image from President Trump, American flag blue. Pathfinder said, I've been really curious about this color on the reflecting pool. So I called and talked to Mario, the owner of the company doing the coding. A nice guy, definitely a patriot. I asked about the specific color, and he confirmed it is indeed American flag blue. And American flag blue is 130. Look at Q drop 130, the water. What really blew my mind was the cleaning company. It's Exodus Mobile Cleaning, also out of Atoka, Oklahoma. I've actually been into Atoka recently and had the best milkshake of my life there. Do you remember my decode of Trump driving over the dry, reflecting pool as a metaphor of God's people crossing on dry ground? What? Exodus Mobile Cleaning is the name of the company. And President Trump driving on dry ground. It's almost like, right, folks, like we have, and we know, with the logo of the man holding the flag, the American flag. You see that with the waters parting, and you got, and we know. And it's almost as that, like a picture of Moses parting the Red Sea. And guess what? The swamp is drained. Those bad guys get taken down. Here's another one. Cowboy W2B put this out. POTUS posted the reflecting pool twice in one day. He said, it made me wonder if I had some hidden meaning. It made me smile when I saw that the delta between the posts, 17 hours, 14 minutes. Okay, when rounded down to 17. So posting it twice was, he posted it once, and then 17 hours and 14 minutes later posted again. So you go to Q1714. What does it say? It says, how do you hide a message in clear sight? There's your message. In clear sight for all to see. So the California homeless grift has been exposed. Democrats handed one NGO $23 million in taxpayer money meant for the homeless.
Say this man was contracted with the city and county of Los Angeles to house and feed up to 600 homeless people, but instead he was misusing tens of millions of dollars to live a luxurious life. Exclusive Fox video shows the Fed's early morning bust here at the LA mansion. 42-year-old Alexander Suker was arrested. Suker's $125,000 Land Rover was also seized by law enforcement. The Fed say Suker defrauded the city and county of LA out of $23 million in taxpayer dollars for not only his mansion and car, but a second home in Greece, luxury vacations, designer clothes, and private schools.
He was living the high life while the people suffering, homeless on the streets with no shelter, no food, they're living out in the streets. People are literally dying. And this guy is out vacationing, buying homes, buying Range Rovers, and going shopping.
Prosecutors say Suker was supposed to provide 3 nutritional meals a day to the homeless, but during one inspection, Suker only had canned beans and ramen noodles on hand. The feds say Suker lied about various aspects of abundant blessings, including fake vendors, facilities, and the homeless actually getting meals. The U.S. Attorney's Office in L.A. says they are actively investigating at least 12 other similar fraud cases here in California. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley says there's a tremendous amount of fraud in this state, and that today's bust of one man who misused $23 million alone may show how little oversight there is.
California was pushing this money out quickly. A lot of money went out the door with, frankly, very little vetting, very little checks and balances, and he's one of the individuals that got it.
You know, what's amazing about California is we're going to show you some great interviews that were done. It's so amazing, this guy. Oh, man. Pratt has been doing a great job in this marketing and more. But he went on Fox 11 Los Angeles and said this.
What do you think? You know, you're known as a reality TV star. Do you think that that is, in your campaign for Los Angeles mayor to run the biggest city in California, is that a label that you embrace? Is that hurtful to your campaign, or does it help, you think?
I mean, the reality, pun intended,
is that was from 20 years ago. And if we look at what Karen Bass was doing 20 years ago, she was in Cuba learning how to make bombs with the people that would then go bomb Capitol Hill. So if we're looking at backgrounds, I'm pretty proud of what I was doing at 20 on reality television, even though it was, I may not have been the most likable character. It was still TV versus trying to destroy America and going to Cuba 20 times and praising Fidel Castro. So against my opponent, my background's pretty strong.
Great answer. How about that? You'd think that this guy's been doing this for a long time, but, he's just a man in his community that says, you know what, I want to stand up and do something for my community.
I think Republicans should be taking copious notes because you just got to embrace common sense and be normal. And he is calling out the fact that leftists in LA seem to be fine with letting people, shoot up in front of schools. They're fine with dogs getting injected with fentanyl. They're doing nothing. And he's calling out some very obvious things that the vast majority of Americans can agree on. And he's going viral because of it. People want common sense.
That's on the Communist News Network. I think it's Lydia Monahan, correspondent, New York Post, that's putting that out. And it's interesting because CNN had a split screen for those not looking. And the lady on the left is deranged, needs help, and has probably got a few mental problems going on there as she becomes a performative narcissist in front of all, where they're twitching and the facts that she can't handle. It's amazing when the truth comes out and they can't handle the truth. Here we go.
Let me tell you my first experience with the NGOs. After the Palisades fire aid, 100 million raised. Every single person I talked to messaging me, no one's getting this money. No
one's getting the money. This is Pratt because he was a part of this. He lost his house. I'm going to show you some more at the end of this video on that.
one's seeing $1. I go to Washington. I ask senators to investigate this. We open up the case. Now all of a sudden Fire Aid puts out a legal letter to defend themselves. In their own legal letter from the law firm, they say several of these NGOs gave directly to fire victims. The list for the 100 million is 200 plus. Google several. It's under 10. So even in their defense, they're telling you, and again, I don't believe one of those 10 gave directly. The people that they said did, they're like, we gave gift cards. Who would you give gift cards to? You don't think one fire victim, they're messaging me all day long, said, hey, I got a $500 gift card. So that's when I learned firsthand that these NGOs will take and right in your face 100 million and just steal it.
Yep, they stole it, and that's why he's had enough. He's tired of it. Here's some more. I saw this guy put a video out, and he was riding his bike or an electric bike through the city. Look at what he sees here.
There's been times when we can't go down this right here. I think if we were on a better bike, like a slightly bigger bike, we can make it. We could make it on this, but I don't have leg protection. The odds of something going up into my leg and like stabbing me and slicing me open, I'm not joking. I am not joking. It's pretty hot. Like there's a lot of really sharp stuff. There could be knives, needles, you name it, in this path right here. So you gotta actually be like armored. You have to be wearing armor to make it through there. We got a hydrant that's just on. That's water that we're paying for. I mean, whatever. All right, what am I supposed to do about that? RV right here. Oh, there's a big gap right here. There used to be multiple RVs. Now there's not any. Interesting. Oh, there's a dog. Y'all see that? Look, he's getting to work on this hydrant next. Hey, man. Oh, they're burning something. Oh, the big fire right there. I mean, look at all this over here, bro. It's not looking any better. So clearly the city decided not to clean up here. We got Sorak right here. We're not going to go that way today. I have to be in a certain mood to go that way. By that I mean like I have to be really locked in. I don't know how else to put it. My brain's got to be 100% on point for me to go that way. It is not for the faint of heart.
Not for the faint of heart. Jumping up in leadership. To take care of problems that you're noticing in your own community takes a lot. Here's Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas dropping truth on what we can do when we notice things in our communities.
I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. If you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. You think that the that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person, and you deal with that. I think we need to take ownership of our country. It's our country.
It's our country. And somebody that's doing that, I wanted to show you this. Christian Maxwell running for Congress in Illinois' first district, a historically Democratic stronghold, despite facing intense backlash from within her own community. In March, she won the Republican nomination and will face incumbent Democrat Jonathan Jackson. Very inconvenient for the far left when black women run as members of the party they claim is racist. And she put on this video, survived being called every name in the book by my own people to arrive here at this moment. That's Mrs. Christian Maxwell, official Republican nominee for Congressional District number 1 in Illinois. How about that? That's how you do it right there. You know, President Trump continued to put a bunch of announcements out this weekend. We're going to read through some of these. I'm pleased to announce that there will be a 3-day ceasefire, May 9th, 10th, and 11th, in the war between Russia and Ukraine. The celebration in Russia is for Victory Day. But likewise in Ukraine, because they were also a big part and factor of World War II, this ceasefire will include a suspension of all kinetic activity and also a prison swap of 1,000 prisoners from each country. This request was made directly by me, and I very much appreciate its agreement by President Vladimir Putin and President Vladimir Zelensky. Hopefully it is the beginning of the end for a very long, deadly, and hard-fought war. Talks are continuing on ending this major conflict, the biggest since World War II. We're getting closer and closer every day, President Donald J. Trump. We saw this one also. He said Iran has been playing games with the United States and the rest of the world. President Trump said for 47 years, delay, then finally hit pay dirt when Barack Hussein Obama became president. He was not only good to them, he was great, actually going to their side, jettisoning Israel and all other allies and giving Iran a major and very powerful new lease on life. Hundreds of billions of dollars and $1.7 billion in green cash flown into Tehran was handed to them on a silver platter. Every bank in D.C., Virginia, and Maryland was emptied out. It was so much money that when it arrived, the Iranian thugs had no idea what to do with it. They had never seen money like this and will never again. It was taken off the plane in suitcases and satchels, and the Iranians couldn't believe their luck. They finally found the greatest sucker of them all in the form of a weak and stupid American president. He was a disaster as our leader, but not as bad as Sleepy Joe Biden. For 47 years, the Iranians have been tapping us along, keeping us waiting, killing our people with their roadside bombs, destroying protests, and recently wiping out 42,000 innocent, unarmed protesters and laughing at our now great again country. They will be laughing no longer. President Donald J. Trump. Kim Sachs said, interesting delta when he posted this on the 10th of May. Well, if you go to May the 10th on the Q board from 2018, fellow patriots, what you're about to learn should not only scare you, but intensify your resolve to take back control and freedom. The information that will become public will further demonstrate the criminal and corrupt, pure evil abuse of power that the Hussein administration undertook in joint efforts with domestic and foreign dignitaries. Wow. So he posted this on the very day that we were told on the Q board in 2018 about Hussein, almost like they have the timing ready for each one of these posts. Another one that he put out, all federal agencies must buy American, no excuses. For decades, Washington politicians sent your taxpayer dollars overseas and let foreign countries rip us off, while our workers, factories, and supply chains were left behind. That betrayal is over. My administration is strengthening Made in America laws, ending waiver loopholes, and stopping the federal government from buying foreign products. when great American products are available. And to the DC bureaucrats, no more handing out waivers like candy. No more rubber stamping exceptions for foreign products while American workers get shafted. We are putting American workers, American factories, and American supply chains first, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. I already signed EO Executive Order 14392 to crack down on fake Made in America claims. We are enforcing it hard. Man, this is just tremendous news. Listen to this from CNN.
60,000 jobs and it's 178. Wow.
Yeah. Look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Yep. They were expecting 60,000 jobs. It went to 178,000 jobs. And they had to say that and admit it on CNN. You know what is amazing about this? When President Trump says you're going to have to buy American, well, we need more American products, which means we need more small businesses to create those products, which means what? We need more jobs. It's like a ripple effect all playing out.
Anytime you have mail-in voting, you're going to have a rigged election. Anytime you're not using voter ID, the Democrats don't want. They're fighting us on the Save America Act. Anytime you don't have, when somebody says we don't want voter identification, that means they want to cheat.
I showed you that already, but just a reminder for all to see. Trump admin open to pausing gas tax, Energy Secretary says. So the Trump administration is going to probably temporarily suspend that gas tax. I didn't even know that there was one. Well, now we're finding out the federal government imposes an 18.4 cent per gallon tax on gasoline in addition to any state level tax applied. So this guy said that the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, said, guess what? We might have to turn that off for a little bit, which brings in $36 to $40 billion annually for the Highway Trust Fund. It hasn't seen a rate change since the 1990s. More on the money and what we do with it. We placed Saturday for all to see. From Dr. Kirk Elliott, Warren Buffett warned us the U.S. dollar could collapse. The market feels like the last months of the 1999-2000 bubble, and silver continued to climb. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys go check out that video that we put out Saturday, andweknow.com/gold. And even Michael Burry says the market feels like the 99. That's where we got that one from.
What did 1999-2000 bubble equate to? An 80% downturn in tech stocks. 80. I mean, it took people like 8+ years just to break even again. That wasn't a small correction. That was actually worse than the 2008-2009 recession, where the markets came down 40%. I mean, it was big. So he's saying, and he was around back then, right? He said, this feels just like the last months before that bubble burst.
Wow. Great information, folks. Hope you go check that out. We dropped that Saturday on the And We Know channel. Now, here's some more great news. RFK Jr. announced he's signed a directive banning transgender surgeries for minors nationwide.
Doctors assume a solemn obligation to protect children. Yet doctors across the country now provide needless and irreversible sex-rejecting procedures that violate their sacred Hippocratic oaths by endangering the very lives that they are sworn to safeguard. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, peddled the lie that chemical and surgical sex-rejecting procedures could be good for children who suffer from gender dysphoria. They betrayed the estimated 300,000 American youth ages 13 to 17, conditioned to believe that sex can be changed. They betrayed their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. So-called gender-affirming care has inflicted lasting physical and psychological damage on vulnerable young people. This is not medicine, it is malpractice. We're done with junk science driven by ideological pursuits, not the well-being of children. A peer-reviewed report published by the HHS Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health last month confirms that sex-rejecting procedures impose medical dangers and lasting harm on children who receive these interventions.
He's putting a stop to it. That's good to see. You know, a stunning mic drop. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent crushed the New York Times face-to-face over their double standard talking about President Trump's health.
You had what was one of the greatest scandals of all time, that the coverage of the Biden administration, Joe Biden's diminished capacity, and the cover-up.
And that's why it's probably fair to raise these questions.
Where was the New York Times? We just had a 3-hour cabinet meeting yesterday, Andrew. For 10 months, the Biden administration did not have a cabinet meeting. How are you going to invoke the 25th Amendment if the cabinet secretaries never see the president, which they didn't? That, you know, I hear from people in the Treasury building that I see President Trump more in a day than my predecessor saw Joe Biden in half a year.
How about that? You know, speaking of health, we talked about this in the last video, went into detail about the hantavirus and all the fake stuff wrapped around that whole thing. And somebody pointed out that there's a 33-day cruise, is what they told us. 33 years ago was the first hantavirus in the U.S. 33 victims were listed on the Pfizer COVID jab side effects on page 33. Here's some close-ups of that if you're looking at your screen. That was on the headlines, 33-day cruise, and then you got 33-day journey. And what else they have? Page 33 on the hantavirus, listed on the Pfizer's 38-page document. If you guys don't know, 33 is the supreme number in Masonry, symbolizing spiritual mastery in the highest rank. Their halls are built on 33 pillars, each 33 feet tall, encoding their reverence for the sacred degree. When the human race learns to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of men, said Manly P. Hall, a 33-degree Freemason. I think we're fighting against them and many others that are part of that whole order. And one of those that's in the fight, I told you I was going to show you this, was Spencer Pratt. Put out a video for Mother's Day and what we're all dealing with. And I thought this was perfect timing to play this. I'm going to read a few cue drops after this and we'll go to prayer. For those watching, not listening, they're showing the fires that envelop their home.
How do you get it out? I want to go in the airstream.
Heidi and I have been through hell together.
My bad. Oh, I'm pulling up the covers. Oh.
No mom should ever have to go through what she's gone through.
And they're visiting their home that was burnt down.
This is the first time we've been here.
They're back at where their home was burned in their trailer.
Hummingbird! 3!
You see him right here?
This was where your bedroom was, remember? This was Mama's room right here. Are you okay?
No.
I think that they're trying to have a good attitude about it, but I did see you got her like almost crying up there, but they're so happy to be home too.
This is my old favorite shovel, Mom.
Wow,
And it lasted. This used to be my... Oh, it didn't. There was a piece of it.
But I think they're just happy to be home.
I just was right here.
Yeah, you want to sit right here?
I gotta go pee.
Oh no!
I got time to go pee and nail.
You go pee right here.
I got.
Now they're roasting marshmallows outside of their motorhome at their place where their house was burnt down. There's Pratt looking at his family. His wife's still smiling.
I am constantly in awe of Heidi. She's the most incredible mom to our boys. She's why I fight.
And then it says Mother's Day is every day. Spencer Pratt for mayor of Los Angeles. Great production there by their team. And folks, just wanted to make sure you knew the May 11th drops from the Q board. I'm going to read a few of them. The fewer rules a president has, the fewer rules there are for officials to break. And that's a picture of Obama, the Satan worshiper. Q, slow and steady wins the race, said somebody. Q responded, we are ready to unleash hell. Are your memes ready? We are also told on the Q board, drop 4212, we are ready and awaiting your go order, sir. Somebody was telling Q. Q responded, rain coming, bring the pain. You'll know when. Drop 4214 then says, bring on the pain. Q then responded, it's happening.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, what an amazing God we serve. You are wonderful. You're everything that we need day in and day out. We thank you for your word that you give us, that we can read it and understand it even more so, that you help us. You help us grow each day, stronger and stronger, and the Holy Spirit guiding and directing our lives through reading your word, which gives us the strength to move forward every second of every day. We thank you for the leaders that you've placed at this time in our country and many others. We thank you for the ability to read messages from a small group of folks that are doing all they can to ensure we know what's going on, so we aren't in panic mode. We ask that you would help us to continue to have comfort and peace through all of this storm that seems to be near, sometimes happening right before our very eyes and all around us. We certainly need you. Without you, we can do nothing. We thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. We thank you for all the protection that you continue to bring around our president and many on the front lines fighting for our nation. Please continue to guide our own life, our own tongues, and what we say to people that are around us. We certainly need your help in that area. We bring this all before you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Thank you for all of your prayers, all of your love, all of your messages. They certainly keep us going and encouraged. For now, this is LT Semper Fi with Them We Know, signing out.
Some of you, same people, sat here with the last administration when you saw a weaponization of this department, the likes of which had never been seen in history.
Sarò